Let's see. Let me see, is this coming up? Bam. All right, let that come up. Everything is clear. All right, everything is clear. All right, everything is clear. Facebook. All right. Everything is streaming well. I do apologize to everybody. I do apologize. All right, let me see. Come on, Facebook. Come on, stream. You should be streaming. Come on, checking Facebook. You should be streaming. There we go. That's a lot better. All right, Barbara Kirkendall. All right. Make sure. Why aren't you? All right, and I actually got more people. Yeah, you can tell that it's clear. There's more people here. Okay, now, like I was saying before, a lot of people upset that, which this man from Politico right here is upset because I told the truth about Trye Nichols. Let me go on and knock this out of the park real quick. See, the problem is he wrote an article saying that everything is unclear about why Trye Nichols was stopped. The officers said why he was stopped. And yes, there are some people that are mad that I said if that was my child that led police on a dangerous and reckless, and that was my child that was refusing to cooperate with the police, I would be embarrassed. Highly embarrassed. I would be highly embarrassed. But let's get to this funeral. This funeral they had for him was an absolute joke. The funeral for Trye Nichols was an absolute joke. Al Sleazy Sharpton showed up and made it about him. White people, if this happens, why they do this on the black side of town, not the white side of town? Because on the white side of town, when you tell them to lay down on the ground, they do it. You cannot deny there is an epidemic in the black community where black men feel they don't have to comply with police. They can fight the police. They can lead the police on high-speed chase, and all because of slavery and Jim Crow segregation, all because of that, they believe they get a pass. No, that's not happening. Al Sleazy Sharpton was at his best, being as sleazy as he know. And you know what? I'm going to go on and say it. When these people invite Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump, they delegitimize what happened. And let me say this. Nothing is above criticism. People can criticize Trye Nichols and what happened. Let me tell you about the funeral. Fox News wouldn't even allow you to comment on it. See, Fox News got some of that crap in them too.
Well, they do it the same way they do it on the white side of Memphis. And they keep the crime down without being rough and tough. How do you have the same department that can keep crime down on one side of town without beating folk to death, but you can't do it on the other side of town? Liar! Unless you feel that you can get away with it there. I can't speak for everybody in Memphis. I can't speak for everybody.
This isn't bad policy. This is nuts.
Gathering, but for me, I believe if that man had been white, you wouldn't have beat him like that night. That's why.
Right.
Still marching? Yeah. Yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show, but I'm a mountain climber. I'm not gonna stop.
Uh-oh. Here it come. Here it come. The black preacher. He gonna start. He gonna start. He gonna start preaching. The Lord, I say the Lord gave him a message. I say the Lord gave Al Sharpton a message. He said, Al, how much you charging? Make sure you get your cut. Make sure you sell your book. He said, Al, make sure you mention your TV show. Let me tell you about Trye Nichols. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. His dumb behind would be alive today. Let me preach. His dumb behind would be alive today if he complied. If he complied. Oh, if he complied.
Till I get to the top of the mountain. You can call me names on right-wing television. I'm a mountain climber. I expect stumbles to come my way.
Are you a broke-back mountain climber?
I'm a mountain climber. You can disgrace me, you can discredit me, but I'm going to keep on climbing. I'm going to climb until Trye Nichols get justice.
I'm gonna climb. I'm gonna climb. I'm gonna climb. Lord, I'm gonna climb. You know, it comes a time where people got to simply say, why do you always live up to your stereotypes? And you see black folk in the background. Ooh, ooh, shimmy, 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 ha. Oh, come on, shimmy, 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 come on, give me, come on, leave me. He's shit. Oh, come on, shimmy, shimmy. Really? Come on, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Got to rub on yourself like you're touching yourself and feeling your muscles. Whoo! He preaching. Yeah, he preaching. He's not preaching. I'm going to tell you something. The preacher can't put you into heaven. Let me say that one more time. If you don't die right, the preacher cannot put you into heaven. I was always told your obituary is how you lived your life.
I'm going to climb until Eric Gardner gets justice. I'm going to climb until we change the laws. We're mountain climbers. We're not day traders. We're mountain climbers. And if God be for us, it's more than the whole world against us. He walks with me. He talks with me.
Whoa, time out. Oh, I said if God be for ya, who be against ya? I said if God be for ya, who be against ya? Okay. Let's weigh that, shall we? Now, Al Sharpton said, if God be for you, who can be against you? Looking at the current state of the black community, looking how we have fallen and can't get up, does that mean God is against us? Now, everybody in the community, if you repent and you repent, live your life holy, that's different. But as a community as a whole, the foolish people can bring you down. And they always like to say, if God be for you, who can be against you? The question is, if God be for you, how do you know God is for you? Why? And let me say and give you a little Exodus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Let me give you some Exodus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy real quick. Did we forget what God did to the children of Israel after he brought them out of Egypt? Soon as they crossed over the other side, God opened up the ground and swallowed them. They was his children, whom God said, this is a peculiar people that is unto me. And he told Moses came down with the tablets and threw them down. God sent scorpions and snakes amongst them. So the question, if God be for you, who can be against you? Is God for you? Meaning, is God with you during your situation? Because a lot of people believe God is standing with them. It ain't. That could go for me too. Well, that means you too. Yeah, pretty much. It can mean me too. Let's get back to church.
He tells me that I'm his own. He's been food when I was hungry, water when I was thirsty. He's my rock. He's my rock. He's my rock. My sword and shield.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. And I'm sure you guys heard the claim that Al Sharpton made, Race Hustle #1.
God ain't nowhere in that mess. God is nowhere in that mess, because if you can't tell the truth about everything, God ain't gonna be a midst of your lives. God is not gonna be in the midst of your lives. He's not. And of all people, this devil in the pulpit, this?
I was, as a senator, as a United States Senator, a co-author of the original George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. And as Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it. And we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable.
God ain't nowhere in that. A sinner can tell you God ain't nowhere in that. The person who champions murdering children in the womb, church is not a place for you to demand bills be passed. How you know God is happy with that bill? See, when you in that pulpit, see, here's what people have to understand. When you in that pulpit, everything that comes out of your mouth better line up with the word of God. That is the most dangerous place on earth. Remember that. Not a volcano, not shark-infested water, not electric fence, because those things can kill your body. The most dangerous place on earth is a pulpit. Because if you teach something wrong, you say something wrong, and somebody dies in that, their blood is required at your judgment. Book of Ezekiel. If a person dies in sin, and you're the preacher, their blood is required at your judgment. That's why I'm going to be honest with you. Jamal, you ought to be in the pulpit. Y'all see how I joke up here and sometimes my language will slip? You ain't going to get me in no pulpit. That's a dangerous area. The most dangerous area on earth. Because when you are there, God is listening to every single word you say. And he putting it on a scale, which is the word of God. Jesus Christ, who's God Almighty, is weighing what you said with the word of God. And it has to be balanced. Has to be balanced. It can't be too heavy. It can't be too light. It has to be even. That's why a preacher is a skilled surgeon. You must know how to cut and slice and stitch the Old Testament with the New Testament and make them harmonize. If you can't do that, you don't belong in a pulpit. And I'm not talking about someone who, let me tell you about Jesus. Let me tell you about Jesus. Let me tell you about Jesus. No. That's a bunch of mess to keep people happy. Ooh, preacher. That's not God. Because the scriptures tell you speak clearly. The scriptures tell you speak clearly. The scriptures tell you let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Let's say you coming in and you barely know English and you got some fool like Al Sharpton preaching in the pulpit. Or worse yet, you got Kamala Harris in a pulpit and she believes in murdering children. And the third, okay, I'm not good with this. Is it the ninth trimester? The ninth, okay, it's the ninth month, the fourth trimester. Or the third one. One of the two. She believes in aborting children in the ninth month. Just killing them. She believed two men can murder. Two men can marry. Two women can marry. The most dangerous place. And don't you notice it's always the same thing? These people do the same exact thing all the time, the same thing. Lord Jesus, Lord. It's the same exact thing, the same hustle. Talking about yourself. Is everybody in that church saved? Is everybody in that church saved? Because you do understand, a funeral is not just for you to memorialize the dead. It's also there because if it's in a church, you're supposed to be trying to win souls. Now, let me say this before I switch over to this Memphis police chief. Somebody told me years ago, you really don't supposed to have a funeral in a church. Let me answer that question. Yeah, let me put that question out here. Do you think it's scriptural correct to have a funeral in a church? Because there are some people, when the Lord Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. The church is not supposed to be dead. The church is supposed to be alive. You know, there's a song, God is not dead, he's still alive. God is not dead, he's still alive. God is not dead, he's still alive. I can feel him in my hands, I can feel him in my feet, I can feel him all over me. Oh, oh, God is not dead, he's still alive. God is not dead, he's still alive. God is not dead, he's still alive. You can feel him in your hands, you can feel him in your feet, you can feel him all over. A lot of people say you do not have a funeral in a church. You don't supposed to have a cemetery near a church. Because the God's house is not a house of the dead. You supposed to have right there at the grave. And there are some churches that do that. They have graveside funerals. Bring your casket there, lower you down, and that's it. Now, of course, we all have had family members, in a church, in a funeral, in a church. But that's the question. Do you supposed to have funerals at church? I'll put that out. But this is what we got. A bunch of mess. She talking about the George Floyd bill. Do people realize George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose? George Floyd robbed a pregnant woman, stuck a gun in her stomach. And the same thing with George Floyd. When they tried to put him in the car, he fought his way out of the police car. But let's get to Brandon Tatum, shall we? Because Brandon is good. Brandon broke this down good.
pushing me in that direction. And I believe I would have been a great leader. One of the things that I often said is that I'm going to always take accountability for my actions. It's just like a football team. You know, when your team does something wrong as a football coach, you don't say, I mean, you rarely hear football coaches say, yeah, my quarterback sucks. You know, when the Raiders get smashed every other week they play, he can't win a game. I got to do better. And then they get off the press conference and they walk off, and then in the back of their mind, they're like, oh, man, I ain't got nothing but trash players. But that's the same thing about being a police chief. You know, when you come out there before you use discount code person a mile away. And I knew that there was some suspicious and shady about the Memphis police chief. I knew it. When you see a person going out and going on the news and speaking ill will against the police officers that are and taking really no accountability. I mean, the first thing you say, even if you believe it or not, as a leader, you have to say, it is my fault that those officers did that. I'll take full responsibility. We need to work on our training. I did not have them equipped, and I did not make sure we didn't have people like this on the streets. Like I would cry if I heard a police chief in 2023 say something like that. I would literally cry because people don't have spines anymore in the police profession and in woke America. They just don't have it. It's okay to say, look, it's my fault. I remember before I left the police department, this is under your leadership. Now, with that being said, come to find out she was fired, and I got little birdies, right? I got my birdies. Called me up on the phone, say, look, I got this, and that. What you want to do with it? And I say, all right, it's public record, so I can go with it. But the chief of Memphis PD was fired from Atlanta PD. Because she was over a unit that was investigating a crime that was committed by apparently her friend's husband. And this dude was having sex with, I don't know, 50-something kids. Minors. I believe it was minors. He ended up going to prison for it. But because she was trying to cover it up, and if it wasn't for the FBI investigation or the federal government investigation, they would have never found out that this guy had did that. Because she was covering it up.
That's why, I'll be honest, one of the people I listen to and I respect is Brandon Tatum. I respect Brandon Tatum. Me and him disagree on some things, but when it comes to police issues, Brandon Tatum is usually 100% right. And this about her, let me ask you a question. Why won't she fired? I got a question. Why won't she fired? Whenever a police chief is over officers who beat a black man, the first thing the black community do is call for that police chief to be fired. Why she get a pass? Because she a black sister gal? Is it cause she a black sister gal that it's okay? I got a question about that. How come black sister gal, why ain't she getting fired? This is just downright. This woman was fired from Atlanta. They all black. And they stuck her in Memphis. Will somebody tell me what is the difference in black supremacy and white supremacy? I don't see it. The racism of low expectations is racism. Because what you saying is black people can't be qualified to do the job. She was not qualified. But Democrats keep trying to push black women in positions of power because black women wholeheartedly vote for the Democrat Party because black women have been trained not to trust their black husbands, but trust the government. That is why you got so many women, black women, who will say, I have a baby by him, but I won't marry him. A lot of people will say they will have a baby by him, but they won't marry him. How in the world can you have a baby by a man, you can't marry him? Do you understand that child is a reflection of that man too? That's why we got so many men in the black community. Act like they mama, talk like they mama, mannerisms of they mama. Just like your mama. Because you ain't got no daddy in you. You ain't got none of your daddy.
And when the FBI got involved and they realized, oh, this guy got to go to jail, they fired her. And, you know, there's a such thing called affirmative action hires. And so they needed a black face to lead the Memphis Police Department. And what do? They hire a degenerate, allegedly. They hired a degenerate. She goes over to the police department. And then there was another deputy chief that was at Atlanta PD. His son was a police officer with Atlanta PD. His son decided to get drunk and ended up getting into a crash and killing somebody. Now that deputy chief resigned from Memphis PD and worked for CJ, the chief of Memphis. So she got this guy over there. Two people that weren't good enough to be, in my opinion, moral wise, they weren't good enough to be in Atlanta PD. They take them over to Memphis and say, have your way. And then the Scorpion Unit situation, the same deputy chief that implemented the Scorpion Unit in Atlanta for Atlanta PD decided to take it over to Memphis. I mean, listen, from the top down, there's problems on Memphis PD. And if you look at some new articles that have come out, they're firing more and more people associated with this situation. It says more police officers relieved of duty over the death of Trye Nichols, EMS fired. It says 2 more Memphis police officers have been relieved for their duty following the death of that gentleman I just spoke of. On his death occurred on January the 10th, 3 days after Memphis PD pulled him over on a traffic stop. I wish they would say a traffic stop where he was supposedly recklessly driving, but of course they're not going to put that in there because they need this to be sensational as possible. And it says police said that during the stop a confrontation occurred, and I'll go down here. Surveillance footage that.
Now, I want to thank Jean-Paul Gadius. Jean-Paul Gadbus, thank you for your kindness and generosity and your donation to Cash App. Hold on. Let me check PayPal. All right. Let me make sure I check everything for everybody. All right. I want to thank Shane Terry. Shane Terry, thank you for your kindness and generosity, your donation to the page through PayPal. And I want to thank Terry Hugh. Terry Hugh, thank you for your kindness and generosity and your donation to the page through PayPal. Thank you. See, if you notice, he said the exact same thing I said. The exact same thing. They won't tell why he was stopped. They had probable cause to stop him. Now, a police chief going in front of people saying, oh, nah, they won't right to stop him. Evidence show that this wasn't a right stop. Or no, you're not a prosecutor. You're a police chief. And simple and plain, she is trying to poison the well. I solely believe The only person that should be charged is the one that kicked him while he was on the ground. That is the only person, in my opinion, who did wrong. The only person who did wrong was the person who kicked him in the face. He was fighting those officers. Mr. Nichols was fighting those officers. And their job is not to lose. He could have avoided all of this if his dumb ass would have complied. I don't know what is in the water in the black community, but every time you keep seeing police officers, the black community feel it's somehow cool to cuss them out when they say stop, disobey. It's like it's just a lack of authority. And of course it's not all, but it's 78%. Who would you bet on? A man that got a 22% chance of winning, or the one that's 78% chance?
It was found at the stoplight show that they were whooping him. I'm paraphrasing, but that's exactly what happened. And it says Associated Press reported that the Memphis Fire Department officially announced on Monday that they have fired 3 EMS medical technicians responding to the scene. You know why I have a problem with them firing these people? And it's not necessarily because do they need to be fired. It's because you guys are firing them because of backlash. Because this man died on January the 10th. If you really thought they did something inappropriate, you'd have fired them when they did it. You would have fired them after this man died. But you know, cowardice leadership says that, oh, we're getting backlash. Let's cover our own rear ends. So now we're going to fire people to cover ourselves.
That's one reason, like I like Brandon. Brandon tell you like it is. Brandon don't play. He give it to you like it is. I see you, Miss Elena Jertson, Betty Murphy. I see y'all. I keep an eye on y'all. I love. If you are on Mind of Jamal is back up. So if you want to go to Mind of Jamal, you can go over there as well. But before I go and move on to nah, you know what? Hold up. Kevin McCarthy pulled something. Why won't Ilhan Omar, Adam Schiff, and Eric Swalwell thrown out of all their committees? That don't sit right with me. That don't sit right with me. But I'm going to let Brandon Tatum say this same thing I was saying.
So at 8:24, officers confronted Trye Nichols at a traffic stop. And this is what bothers me the most, because people cannot be honest about anything. But I'm going to be honest. Just stay tuned. They stop him on a traffic stop. And the officers alleged that he was driving reckless. That's why they stopped him. However, their police chief gets on television on NBC and say the department have not been able to confirm why Mr. Nichols had been stopped. What do you mean you haven't confirmed? The officers, you think they just stopped him just because they were driving down the street and they picked that man out of all the other black men they could have stopped? Of course, they had a reason for the stop. They articulated that they had a reason for the stop, and you have no reason to believe that they didn't have a reason for the stop. But, of course, she's in the political realm of coming against her own officers. The first struggle occurred between Mr. Nichols, and then he fled. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but why are you resisting arrest? The officers can be wrong, indeed. But you wrong. You created this situation. and they finished the situation, and then they probably going to go to jail. But you created the situation. There's nobody whatsoever on planet Earth that could tell me that his actions did not lead to his death.
His actions led to his death. Trye Nichols died because of his own stupidity. His own stupidity killed him. There's no other way to put it. His own stupidity killed him. It won't white racism. It won't poverty. It was his own stupidity. And like I said before, if that was my child or that was my family member that was on television like that, I would be humiliated. I would be embarrassed to know that I raised my child to be that stupid. You gonna be mourning. Yes, I'm gonna be mourning because I failed as a father. See, when all this stuff go down, is there any black parents out here that have a conscience anymore? Shame? Are there any that feel shame for stuff like this? That feels shameful. Every time you turn around, it's the same old thing. Black kid, police tell him lay down on the ground. He doesn't want to comply. He doesn't want to listen. He acting with a chip on his shoulder, and he dies, and the police restrain him. He's fighting with them. They're fighting back. And black folk always tell this lie. It didn't take all that. It didn't take all that. It didn't take all that. What it took was you being a mother, being married to his father, and raising him to respect authority. Do you know why children need a man in the home? Because of fear. Let me say that again. Because of fear. A daddy brings fear. I won't scared of my daddy. Your daddy won't discipline in you either. And that's why you ain't got no discipline in yourself. Women are nurturers. You supposed to go to your mother to feel loved. You should go to your mother to feel when you're scared, when you're sick. Your mother's supposed to wrap her arms around you and you feel that love. A father is for that discipline. He sets order in the house. He sets order. And you know what else he teaches you? There are people that are more powerful than you that may tell you something to do, and they may be doing opposite, but you just shut up and do it. See, daddies prepare you for the real world. Daddies humble you. Trye Nichols obviously didn't have a daddy that humbled him. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. See, a daddy will terrify you. Terry Hamilton, that is a false rumor. I'm not even going to allow that. I'm just going to delete that comment because that's false. This rumor somebody started that he was sleeping with the other guy, baby mama, is a lie. It's a lie. But you know what? It's a shame that the black community have dissolved to where when you hear something like that, people believe it. It's a shame that people have dissolved in believing that in the black, he was screwing his baby mama. Okay, yeah, we understand that. Yeah, that's what black folk do. And no, it doesn't take the right daddy. It just takes daddy. Like it don't take the right mother. See, here is something that's also something new. Children don't judge their parents. Well, my daddy ain't do enough for me. My daddy ain't... Oh, shut up. These people actually run around and say, my daddy ain't do enough for me. My daddy won't dare. Why won't your daddy dare? It's a lot of children running around here in the black community thinking they daddy's sorry when they mama was. What do they think? This stuff messing around is something new? It's a lot of children that don't know they mama was a hoe. It's a lot of women out there who don't want to tell their kids they met their daddy at a house party. Daddy never planned on marrying her. Daddy was just there for the sex. And when he told her, I'm not with you. It's a lot of women that don't tell their children that they was trying to get pregnant by their daddy because he had pretty hair and that yellow complexion, that nice pretty complexion, and them pretty teeth. Children are lied to every day and not given the truth. I saw my daddy pick up a letter and choke my mama. Oh, did you read the letter? The letter said he had gonorrhea. And he knew he won't screwing around, so he knew where he got it from. Yeah, I said it. Some people saw these fights between their mother and father, and they don't know what the fight was over. He got a letter in his hand and he went to choke her because he found out he got herpes now. He found out he got gonorrhea, chlamydia. Or he got the test results and he found out he want the father, but he never said anything because he didn't want to embarrass you. But you started up with, you ought to take care of your kids. And he knew that child wasn't his. Let me say this one more time. Because people get mad when you say what they don't like. Trye Nichols' dumb hindpart caused all this. And I said it just like that. His dumb ass caused all this. That's why black folk can't deal with the truth. Because you know why? Because black folk love to sit here and blame everybody else for their problems. Still blaming slavery. And you Negroes ain't been a slave since 1865. All this could have been prevented if his dumb hindpart would have complied. Yeah, I broke the law before. Sure have. And when the police told me lay down on the ground, you know what I did? I laid my butt on the ground. Sure, yep, sure did. I broke the law. And when the police said, get on the ground, I laid my butt right on the ground. So, personal choices. Because if you think the police gonna let you win, you're out of your mind. And if anybody who think the police should let people win, you're stupid. People actually believe the police should let you win fights. Just let them go. Oh, that's what it is. Because your dumb son or your dumb daughter gonna do the exact same thing. You raised a little animal like that to where they can't respect nothing. See, people love to blame everybody. What happened if you ain't broke the law? The police aren't going to stop you unless you break it. If they're looking for someone, if they're investigating someone, and they say, hey, let me ask you a couple questions. Hey, let me ask you questions. You know what? I see Renee I see this woman, Renee's original. And you know what? She a single mother. And she's part of the problem. I done went to her page and seen her page. Trying to do all that blackness. But you know what she is? She a single mother. Black women love being single mothers. And like I said, you will always see black women are the ones who are the main ones coming up defending it. Because you know what? The black community is proof black women has failed. That boy and his stupid actions got him killed. There's no other way to put it. See, I'm on Black Tea Patriots. Well, all these black folk done jumped up here, and the reason why I let them come because they keep the numbers up. Yeah, thank y'all for keeping the numbers up. And don't let me forget white liberals. Because white liberals encourage black women to stay like they are. Let me say that right now. White liberals encourage black women to stay like they are. Stupidity. Hewitt's stupidity led him to his grave. All this could have been avoided. All of it. Lay down on the ground. Brandon Tatum said they were trying to put his arm behind his back. He like, hold up, hold up, hold up. No, this ain't a time for hold up. Your time for hold up when you shouldn't have broke the law. That was your time to hold up. You done broke the law, you're going to jail. You're going to jail, simple as that. I mean, hold up, man. Hold up, man. Hold up, man. Hold up, man. The advice black women should be following has been around for 100. The advice black women should be following has been in the scriptures for years. 1, humble yourself. 2, marriage before babies. 3, raise the children in the home. 4, daddy is still head of household. Just because you make more money don't make you head. Let me say that one more time. 1, wait till you're married to have children. 2, humble yourself so you can be a wife. Humble yourself so you can be a wife. How do you expect our children to be humble when they don't see humility at the house? But what they will see is you fighting and cussing and acting like a rage orangutan. What they will do is get you an orangutan. And you know what? For all you who say, yeah, just wait till one day. Just wait till one day. Just wait till one day. Wait till one day when the police stop you. I used to be a drug dealer. And I've been stopped a bunch of times. I knew one thing. Just comply. Why? Because I'm trying to go home. And if I am a little dirty, if I comply, if I done threw my stuff over there, you gonna give me a break. Hey, officer, I'm on the ground. Hey, whose stuff is this? It ain't mine. It ain't mine. A bunch of times I could have been locked up as a felon. But I used this. What you doing out here? Man, I'm just leaving my girlfriend's house. What's your girlfriend name? Tanya. Where Tanya stay at? Over there on 3rd Street. Well, why you doing walking around this late? Her mama came home and I had to hide under her bed. Then the officer started laughing at you. Happened to me a bunch of times. Then you go on and get home. I also walked around with ID. But let me ask all you black folk who mad and coming here mad. Tell me why there is no city that's predominantly black low in crime. And who the ones committing the crime? I'll wait. I know. I'm going to move on to Ilhan Omar. I promise you. Just give me 1 minute. Rumble Rebels, give me 1 minute. I promise you, Rumble Rebels, give me 1 minute. All you black folk, you po-black. Not pro-black, you po-black. Tell me why every place that's predominantly black has crime, drugs, and violence. Name me why every street in America that's named Martin Luther King Boulevard is one of the most violent streets in the city. Come on. Tell me why every Martin Luther King Boulevard in America is violent. Why every Malcolm X Boulevard is violent. And oh yeah, Malcolm X was speaking about the breakdown of the black family and how it's dissolving in the 60s as well, because he started noticing the tick up of unwed mothers in the black community. And he started pointing out white liberals and the welfare state. And yes, when you comply, you don't die. None of y'all don't want to talk about that. How come all these cities, Durham, North Carolina, where I live at, black mayor, black police chief, black mayor pro temp, black prosecutor, and the most violent cities? You know what, Terry? Terry says, my dad said, if you get put in jail, stay there. I'm not coming to get you. That's a daddy for you. I know parents who beat you out of the jail. People have to understand the black family can only be fixed by the black community. And no, we don't need to be asking nobody to help us. We got ourselves into this. We got ourselves into this, and it's going to take us getting ourselves out. I'm serious. Y'all lucky white folk ain't got... People are lucky white folk has truly changed. Because if this was the white folk back in the 80s and the 90s, they'll be saying, why we got to pay them all this money? Why you think they got married on Rudy Giuliani in New York? Rudy Giuliani cleaned up New York City, didn't he? White folk got tired of being hit in the head and had their purse snatched. Think about this. You cannot make death wish today. You could not make Death Wish today because you would have to put in some white racists. He would have to go get white racists on the streets. People walking around with MAGA hats in Chicago. Y'all remember that? People in MAGA hats in Chicago with bleaching ropes. Single mothers do have a choice, Craig. Say that crap. Single mothers have a choice. Single mothers have a choice before they lay down and open up their legs. This crap about single mothers don't have a choice. Yes, they do. Nobody told them to open up their legs before they get married. That's their choice. No, save that. Save that. Save that crap. Well, single mothers don't have a choice. No, they do. Yeah, they do. Nobody told you to be tooting your booty up in high school. Nobody told you to go bareback in high school. Nobody told you to go to college. You all in praise and worship, singing in praise and worship at the church. But as soon as you go to the black college, you get knocked up within a year of being in college. And now you got to come back home. You was doing that before you left. Let's go on and call it out. You was doing that crap. And your mama was letting you do your crap like that before you even left. Before you even left to go to college. You was tooting your booty up, doing all types, sleeping around before you went to college. It's just you finally got caught. Because that senior in college or that boy from New York or that boy from Texas didn't know how to pull. His pull-out game was weak. My dad had a way of looking at you when he was disappointed. That hurt me worse than he would have hit me. You know what? My wife tell me that all the time, Bernard. I don't have to pop my daughter. She's like, they just look at you. You can just tell them you disappointed. I'm sorry. I'm old-fashioned. I believe in picking up that belt and whooping hindpart. I believe in the power of the belt. Ooh, the belt. Ooh, that belt. The power of the belt. I believe in the power. I have the power.
Failing you today. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
When my life was threatened. Thank you.
Well, Republicans kept their word today. They threw Ilhan Omar butt off. They threw her off. That's a good thing. Kevin McCarthy had promised he would remove Ilhan Omar, Adam Schiff, and Eric Swalwell off committees. Intelligence and foreign. But he still allowed them to be on committees. Personally, I feel he should remove them from all committees. Adam Schiff should have removed them from all committees. All of them. All committees, they should have been removed. All of them. I didn't like Kevin McCarthy that he did that. I didn't like that too much. I wanted he removed them all committees. So I guess now all you black folk, all you folk this here this mad and want the, I can't believe he talking about the new saint. We had Saint George Floyd. Now we got Saint Trye Nichols. Well, I guess y'all mad now because I'm gone to another subject. And still, Trye Nichols caused that. What we saw, simple and plain, was they removed her. And they're mad about this. Ooh, ooh. I believe Kevin McCarthy should have did that. Oh, I want to thank Jamal. Your presentation is impressive. Thank you, Jim GB. Thank you for the super chat on Rumble. I want to see this person right here. But now they're mad. Who does the Democrat Party send out? Women of color. Color gals. I mean, really. Can people say colored gals again? Can we say colored gals again? I'm just saying. People want to call color people of color. People of color. Color gal.
Desperation. So desperate to distract the American people from their total inability to govern. The GOP is now doing what it is best at, weaponizing hate against a black, beautiful Muslim woman.
Right.
Congresswoman Omar's lived experience as a refugee and a child of survivor of war should be welcomed on this committee. It is needed. When you can't pass any bills that actually improve the people's lives, they turn to Congress. They turn Congress into a place of fear-mongering hate. It is so painful to watch. How ironic that the so-called lovers of personal freedom are now moving to censor Congresswoman Omar in the same week they introduced a bill to ban federal employees from engaging in censorship.
You crazy bitch!
Where are the free speech warriors today? The hypocrisy is obvious to the American people. You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Omar will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
To Congressman Omar, I am so sorry,
has expired.
That our country is failing you today.
Nigga, please.
Chamber, you belong
The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and the gentleman from Mississippi is.
These people were about to have a baby. She can't believe she was done like this. And it get funny. And here come the hot Puerto Rican. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Don't you want a Puerto Rican? Somebody gonna pick at me for that.
As a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America, and this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't
Nigga, please.
tell me me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes, and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color.
This isn't bad policy. This is nuts. This isn't bad
in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
My life was threatened. Thank
Right.
She didn't get a single apology when her life was threatened. Okay. Sound like a personal problem to me. And of course, I like to call this one the Project Queen. Everybody know that ain't your hair. I mean, she looked like she's straight out of the projects. Well, she is. Cori Bush looks like she is straight out of the projects. She looked like one of those type of black women you see fighting at McDonald's because they gave her 6 nuggets instead of 10. Let me say that again. You seen them videos of black women out there fighting over Raekwon, cause Raekwon got a baby by her and Raekwon got a baby by the other girl, and since Raekwon was over her house the other night, she gonna beat her up and she gonna tear her wig up. Cori Bush looked like the woman that in a riot gonna break into Dollar Tree and Family Dollar Store and steal some stuff. This is what she look like.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Senator Bush. The gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
St. Louis and I rise in support of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. I've been to her district. I've spoken with her constituents. We visited marginalized communities globally together. This institution is better because of her leadership, and the Foreign Affairs Committee benefits from her perspective. So let's talk about what's really happening.
That's a huge bitch.
Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable. It is Congresswoman Omar, who has been harassed at her job for simply existing as a Muslim woman in Congress. It is she who has been attacked by a member of this body, ridiculing her as a potential terrorist for simply existing as a Muslim woman in this Congress. So rather than bring an actual accountability, any accountability to Congress, they bring this offensive resolution to the floor. This is just a bunch of racist gaslighting. We all know it. Vote no.
The gentlewoman from Pennsylvania reserves.
It is no accident that members of the Republican Party accused the first black president, Barack Obama, of being a secret Muslim.
You take your gun and you shoot him. You shoot him so that he looks like grated cheese.
It is no accident that former President Donald Trump led a birther movement that falsely claimed he was born in Kenya. Because to them, falsely labeling the first and only President of the United States of America a Muslim and African immigrant somehow made him less American. Well, I am Muslim. I am an immigrant, and interestingly, from Africa.
I've invited Laverne's church choir here to summarize my feelings in exuberant song.
Hey, that is a bitch. Hey, that is a bitch. Oh, yeah. Hey, that is a bitch.
I've invited Laverne's church choir here to summarize my feelings in exuberant song.
Hey, that is a bitch. Hey, that is a bitch. Oh, yeah.
Is anyone surprised that I am being targeted?
Bruh. Feelings in exuberant song.
Hey, that is a bitch. Hey, that is a bitch. Oh, yeah. Hey, that is
Now, for y'all, I don't want y'all to feel that I don't have no feelings for Ilhan Omar. You know she married a brother, right? Nasty heifer. And you know what? I got to find me one of them old... She talks about how racist America is. Ilhan Omar would have been sold for 2 goats, a sheep, and a carton of eggs if she stayed in Somalia. I don't know where their meds were at, Kenyon. Kenyon asking me, well, where them folk meds at? I don't know, Kenyon. I don't know where them folk meds at. But what Kevin McCarthy said today, it kind of irked me a little, because he wasn't definitive in why he keeps saying he's allowing Democrats to put somebody back up. He should have just totally removed him. That's it.
Acknowledge that that is true. What he did when he went after Devin Nunes, even the Inspector General said he was lying about that. He turned the Intel Committee. What he did to the Intel Committee has a relationship with a Chinese spy. Now, the first 2 people we did not allow to be on Intel, and what Republicans are doing. So the Democrats in the last Congress removed Republican members from all committees. They even judged one Republican member not based upon what she had said as a member of Congress, but what she said prior to ever getting here. And they removed from all committees.
Feelings in exuberant song.
And I'm not judging something that someone said when they're not a member of Congress. Now, the first 2 people we did not allow to be on Intel. If you got the briefing I got from the FBI, and I know you all personally believe it as well, simply as an American, you know Swalwell should not serve on the Intel. I'd love to take a show of hands here. How many believe, if you're a member of Congress, and the FBI says nothing, but the moment your leadership appoints you to the Intel Committee, the FBI comes knocking on the leadership's door and says, we have a problem.
Before I go any further, I want to thank Matt McPherson for his kindness and generosity through Cash App. Jack Boyd, thank you for your kindness and generosity through Cash App. And Tracy Chandler, thank you for your kindness and generosity through Cash App. Let me see, did I miss anybody else? Nope. Did I miss a super chat? Did I miss a super chat? Nope. I didn't miss a super chat. I got everybody. All right. I'm grateful for people's kindness and generosity. I will not act like, nah. When you give, I am thankful.
This person has a relationship with a Chinese spy. How many believe that that person should stay on Intel? So, yes, it's not the same, and he's no longer on Intel. But there are a number of other Democrats concerned. Now, the chairman of the Intel Committee, Adam Schiff, I actually believe I helped him. Because what he did to the Intel Committee, he used that position as chairman, knowing classified information that others didn't, and he conveyed to the American public something that was not true to try to confuse them on a number of times. From the whistleblower, even the Washington Post acknowledged that that is true. What he did when he went after Devin Nunes, even the Inspector General said he was lying about that. he turned the Intel Committee into an impeachment committee. So now Schiff serves on Judiciary. That is actually the committee for impeachment. That is where he should serve. So now the Intel Committee would go back to the responsibility that it has to protect the American public. Now, when it comes to Congress...
Now, Adam Schiff should not be on the impeachment. He should not be on Judiciary. Adam Schiff should not be on anything. This is where I disagree with Kevin McCarthy strongly. They should not be on anything. Neither of them. Mind of Jamal Live, you know what? We're going to go on ride this train till the end. So I'm not going to stop Mind of... Oh, yeah, people done stop watching Mind of Jamal Live. Okay. All right, Mind of Jamal Live. I want to thank you guys. You know, if you want to switch over, you can. But to Mind of Jamal Live, go over to Mind of Jamal's Black Southerner.